Hi friends, we are coming to the last part of this geography lesson and the geography syllabus. So I hope you must be happy because so long you have been listening and must be already feeling boring. So you must be having a sigh of relief that this class is coming to an end. So anyway, without much boring you more, we shall come to the point, the topic, that is the sex ratio in our country. That we already said in the last class. Now let us see about the literacy rates. The literacy rates in our country. In the sex ratio we saw average, the boys are much higher, the males are higher and the females are less. Except in some states in south, all the other parts of the country, the female ratio is much low. Now let's see about literacy, how the population is leading in literacy. So literacy is a very important quality of a population. So if a population has to be good, qualified, then they should have proper literacy education. Obviously, only an informed and educated citizen can make intelligent choices and undertake research and development projects. So why we say literacy is a very important quality? Because only an informed and educated person, a person who is having a lot of information, a person who is educated, only he will be able to make intelligent choices. So anybody can make any kind of choice, but to make intelligent choice, a clever choice, a person has to be educated. An uneducated person and an educated person both will be thinking in different way. They will be making different choices. And so a person who is educated, a person who has got a lot of knowledge, he will be able to make intelligent choice, wise choices, and he will be able to undertake research and development projects, and so he will make use his knowledge and he will do a lot of research and he will make a lot of development projects as well. So he will be able to produce a lot of things for the country. He may become a scientist, he may become an officer, he may use his intellect in order to do so many works for the country, and the economy of the country will be developed. And low levels of literacy are a serious obstacle for economic improvement. So if the population of a country is having very low education or very low literacy rate, then that country cannot have much progress. They will be only doing farming works and so. Even as a farmer, they will not be able to think properly and will not be doing better methods. They will be using the traditional method, same method will be going on. So an educated person will be able to think better, work better, perform better in every field wherever he is working. So according to the census in 2001, a person aged 7 years and above who can read and write with understanding in any language is treated as literate. You can underline what's the meaning of literate. We can say a person is a literate, a person who is 7 years and above who can read and write and understand any language. So if he is able to read his own mother tongue, not necessarily he should speak Hindi or English, his own mother tongue, if he is able to read and write and understand what others are speaking, then we can say that person is a literate person. Some people, they will know only how to speak, may not know how to read, how to write, then that person is not a literate person. So he should be able to read, write and understand. There has been a steady improvement in the literacy levels in India. The literacy rate in the country as per the census 2001 is 64.84%. So the country, the literacy rate is 64.84 only. That means out of 100 people, only 64.84% will be able to read, write and understand. And that is for 75.26 for males. If you take males alone, out of 100, 76 or 75.26% are able to read, write and understand. Then females alone, it is 53. So females are very low again in the level of education as well. And why do such differences exist? So why that boys are educated more and girls are educated less? Why? Let's see what is the reason. Occupational structure, because of maybe the occupation. So the percentage of population that is economically active is an important index of development. The distribution of the population according to different types of occupation is referred to as occupational structure. So the distribution of the population according to different types of occupation is referred to as occupational structure. So different people are given different jobs. Some works are done only by men, some works are done only by women. So they are divided according to the occupation. And an enormous variety of occupations are found in any country. And occupations are generally classified as primary, secondary and tertiary. I am sure you have already studied about this, primary, secondary and tertiary activities. So some places we find only women are working. Some places or some occasion we find only men are working and so on. So primary activities include agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry, fishing, mining and quarrying. So which are the areas that are coming under primary sector? So primary activities include agriculture, all kinds of cultivation. Then the animal husbandry, growing animals. Then forestry, growing the trees, all that. Then fishing. Then mining, digging out the ores, different ores from the mines, all that are primary activity. Then secondary activities include manufacturing industry, building and construction work, etc. So what is secondary activity? So secondary activity includes manufacturing industry, that any factory or any industry that are producing something new, that is secondary activity. Then construction work, building works, all that. Then tertiary activity includes transport, communications, commerce, administration and other services. So tertiary activity mainly means services, any service that is rendered to others, the shopkeepers, the tailors, the transport drivers, all the people who are working in the offices, they are all doing some kind of services, that is all under tertiary activity. So the proportion of people working in different activities varies in developed and developing countries. So we said everywhere we go we will find this kind of three types of activities: primary, secondary and tertiary. But the proportion of people working in each area or each sector is different from country to country. For example, in India we find more than half of the people are working in primary sector. More than 50% of the people of Indian population is working in primary sector. If you go to some other country, we will find more people are working in tertiary sector, or primary sector very less people. But in India it is just the opposite. So developed nations have high proportion of people in secondary and tertiary activities, and developing countries tend to have higher proportions of workforce engaged in primary activities. In India, about 64% of the population is engaged only in agriculture. So we see the difference. Already the countries that are rich, already developed countries, what do? Most of the people are working in secondary sector, that is in construction work, production work and so on. and also in the tertiary sector, that is service sector, and very few people are working in the primary sector. But in India it is just the opposite. 64%, to say precisely, 64% of people in India are working in primary sector. Then the rest are working in secondary sector and tertiary sector. So India is agricultural country. So even more than half of the people are working in agriculture field. So the proportion of population dependent on secondary and tertiary sectors is about 13 and 20% respectively. So we said 64% are working in primary sector. Then how many are working in the secondary sector? Just 13% are working in secondary sector. Those are working in the factories and other manufacturing sector. Then 20% is working where? Tertiary sector. So total how many already? 64 in the primary sector, 13 in the secondary sector, 20 in the tertiary sector. So 64 plus 13 plus 20, how much? 64 plus 20 is 84. 84 plus 13 is 97. What about other 3%? They may be lazy, not doing any work, maybe that is the reason. So there has been an occupational shift in favor of secondary and tertiary sector because of growing industrialization and urbanization in recent times. So in recent times, most of the people, they don't want to go to the field. Maybe it is very hard, tiresome, they have to stand in the sun and so everybody is trying to shift to secondary sector and tertiary sector. So that is the trend that is going on in our country now. So we see the occupational shift, people changing their area or field of work from one sector to another sector. So very few people want to go and work in the primary sector now. Actually primary sector is very important because that is a food producing area. If nobody is working in the primary sector, there will be no enough food for people to eat. We will have to buy always from other countries and the price will go higher and higher. So people somehow they are not interested, so they are trying to move to the secondary sector and tertiary sector. Now let's see what is health or how health is affecting the people in our country. The health is an important component of population composition which affects the process of development. Sustained efforts of government programs have registered significant improvements in the health conditions of the people's population. So health is very much important. If a person is not healthy, then he will not be able to do the work. He will be always going to the hospital, eating medicine, taking rest, and so it will be a liability for others. Others will have to produce money in order to meet the needs of this person. Then death rates have declined from 25% per 1,000 population in 1951 to 8.1 per 1,000 in 2001. So in 1951 the death rate in India was very high. So every 1,000 persons, 25 of them used to die. But now it has been reduced after 50 years, that is in 2000. Now only 8.1% die. Out of 1,000, only just 8.1% die. That means and life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to 64.6 years in 2001. And the length of the life also is increased. In 1950, the average life of a person was 36 years, 36.7 years. But now after 50 years, because of improved medical facilities, good nutritious food, and so average life of a person has come 64.6 years. So an average person will live up to 64.6 years. So the length of the year, the length of the lifespan has increased. The substantial improvement is the result of many factors including improvement in public health, prevention of infectious diseases, and application of modern medical practices in diagnosis and treatment of ailments. So olden times, what was the problem? There was no much hospital facility. Somebody may get infectious diseases like cholera, leprosy and so, and they should die away. There was no proper medicine for treatment. But now the medical facility has improved, and so people are able to go to hospital, do the scanning and find out what is the problem. Early, what was sickness inside, nobody is able to find out, and they'll say this fellow is affected by devil and so he's dying. That was the old people's conclusion. Now we will not blame the devil. We will say we'll go to hospital, we will check whether liver is okay or not, heart is okay or not, lungs are okay or not. Everything we can test, we can do the scanning, we can do the x-ray. Lot of facilities are there, and therefore we can exactly find out what is the problem and then give the proper treatment, and the fellow will be all right. Then, despite considerable achievements, the health situation is a matter of major concern for India. The per capita calorie consumption is much below the recommended levels, and malnutrition affects large percentage of our population. Safe drinking water and basic sanitation amenities are available only to one-third of the rural population. So these problems need to be tackled through an appropriate population policy. So we say our health conditions have improved, the facilities have improved, but still we say a lot of people in India are facing problems. They don't have access to medical facility, especially people who are staying far away in the villages, rural areas. There are no hospitals, no doctors, no nurses, and there are no road to go to the town hospital, and so very often when they get sick they are just dying. They have no way of surviving. So that is the problem. And also people who are in the villages, they like proper food, nutritious food, and therefore their health is very bad and they are unable to do much work. They work for a little time, they get tired and they get sick and so on. So a lot of problems are there due to. So in the town it may be okay, but in the village areas we need to still improve the health facilities. We need to build hospitals, dispensaries, doctors and nurses should be available and so on. Otherwise our people will be having no proper health. Now let's talk about adolescent population. The population adolescents. The adolescent population. The most significant feature of the Indian population is the size of its adolescent population. It constitutes 1/5 of the total population of India. And adolescents are generally grouped in the age group of 10 to 19 years, and they are the most important resource for the future. So adolescents, or we can say teenagers, they are between 11 to 19. The people who are at the age of 11 to 19, they are the most important source of our population, resource of our population, because at this time they need to learn, education they get, and they grow up as a strong person. If they receive proper food and care, they will be healthy and they will have the resistance power against sickness and so, and they will become the most valuable resource for our country. So at this stage, if they are not getting proper food, not eating proper medicine, not taking proper care, means they will grow up as a weak person. So at this stage, it's most important stage, they have to take proper care and proper development, then they will become very useful for our country. Nutrition requirements of adolescents are higher than that of normal child or adult. So at this age, they need more nutrition. More than a child, they need nutrition at this level. Or more than the adult people, grown-up people. These people, adolescent people, need nutrition because it is the time that they are forming up, developing their body, their system, everything, body system, everything. Then poor nutrition can lead to deficiency and stunted growth. But in India, the diet available to adolescents is inadequate in all nutrients. A large number of adults and girls suffer from anemia. So, unlucky to say or unfortunate to say that in India, people belonging to this age, they are not given proper nutrition. Maybe because of their poverty, or maybe because of the hard work that they have to do at home, they are not able to get proper nutrient foods, and so they are suffering from a lot of sicknesses. And for example, for the girls of this age, adults and girls, they get the sickness called anemia. What is this anemia? It is a capacity of blood to transport oxygen to tissues and so on. So a person who is suffering from anemia, what happens? Their blood will not be able to transfer oxygen to different parts of the body. So that is how our body tissues are developing. So blood has to flow everywhere, every nook and corner of our body, and in that blood oxygen is there. Oxygen is carried and reached to everywhere. So a person who is suffering from this anemia, their blood will not be that strong or not able to carry the oxygen to different parts of the body, and the body will not be, that part which does not get oxygen or blood, they will not be growing properly, will not be getting matured and so on. So their growth will be stranded, and their problems have so far not received adequate attention in the process of development. The adults and girls have to be sensitized to the problems they confront. Their awareness can be improved through the spread of literacy and educating among them. So we need to make the girls also available or aware about the problems that they can face if they don't receive proper nutrients and so. So we should advise them and ask them to take proper care at this age of adolescence, so that when they grow up they will have proper health, they will be able to do works for the country and so on. Then let's see what is the national population policy. The national population policy. What is the national population policy of our country? So, recognizing that the planning of families would improve individual health and welfare, the Government of India initiated the Comprehensive Family Planning Program in 1952. The Family Welfare Program has sought to promote responsible and planned parenthood on voluntary basis. So, in order to improve the capacity and the health of the family, government introduced a policy called Family Planning Program. Suppose a family, a poor family having so many children, then they all will be unhealthy, will not be able to get proper food or sufficient food for them. They all will grow as unhealthy, they will not be able to go to school and learn, and so we'll be developing a population that is very unhealthy and unresourceful and so on. So instead that the government took steps to make the people aware that if they are not able to have many children, they should have less children and they should look after them nicely, provide good food and so on. So that way government introduced this family planning program, family welfare program and so on to make the family self-sufficient and work for the betterment of the children and provide good nutritious food for all the students, children and so on. The National Population Policy 2000 is a culmination of years of planned efforts. So government was planning, thinking for so long, and at the end, finally in the year 2000, the policy was concluded. It was successful in implementing this policy. So the NPP, that is National Population Policy 2000, provides a policy framework for imparting free and compulsory school education up to 14 years of age, reducing infant mortality rate to below 30 per 1000 live births, achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases, promoting delayed marriage for girls, and making family welfare a people-centered program and so on. So what are the points in this National Population Policy 2000? First of all, government want to give free and compulsory education to children up to 14 years of age. So no child below 14 years of age should lack education. They all should get opportunity to go to school and get free education. That's why government has opened so many schools everywhere. Unfortunately, the teachers are not there, the students are not there, or the quality of the teaching also is not there. That's why most of the students are failing. So anyway, government has taken initiative to provide them education. Then reduce infant mortality rate below 30. So early many children used to die. Infant mortality means children dying within 1 year after their birth. So that used to be very high. So government want to bring it below 30 percentage. So if 1000 children are born, not more than 30 should die. And now before many used to die. At least bring down to 30. So that will be a success story. Then achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases. So there used to be polio. People used to get a whole life paralyzed, and they used to get cholera and other sicknesses. And so government want to give immunization program. Now also we have injections against certain diseases. So prevention is better than cure. So government takes extra care to provide these medicines or vaccines so that the children may not get sickness in the future. Then promoting delayed marriage for girls. So earlier girls used to get married very fast, 15 years, 16 years, girls used to get married and they used to have so many children, and the family poor means they will be struggling. Parents have nothing to eat, children have nothing to eat, they have no work also, and as soon as they reach 10 years of old age, they will be going for working in the field and they can never get education. Lot of problems were there. So government told the girls, you delay your marriage up to 20 years, 25 years, you get some job, you complete your studies and get job, then you marry. Then you will be able to look after your children nicely. So government told the girls to marry after when they are reaching certain age. Then making family welfare a people-centered program. Then family welfare program for caring for the mother, child, and so government used lot of programs. So these were the special items included in the National Population Policy 2000. So after many years of planning and government introduced this program, and that was a very big success story. Then let's see National NPP, National Population Policy 2000, and the adolescent. How this policy is helping the adolescent children who are between 11 to 19 years of age. So NPP 2000 identified adolescents as one of the major sections of the population that need greater attention. So in this policy, government has found out or expressed, identified that these adolescent people are the most important people who need a very great attention from the government. Besides nutritional requirements, the policy put greater emphasis on other important needs of adolescents, including protection from unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases. So one of the important things that they need at this age is to get good nutritious food so that they will grow up healthy. Then second one is that they should be protected from unwanted pregnancies. So they should not get pregnant before getting married, and so they should be protected from all the unwanted pregnancies. When they get pregnant, then the mother is so young and their health is affected, their future is affected, all those problems are there. Then also there is a chance of getting sexual diseases, and that is also like AIDS and so on. If we get sicknesses like that, then there is no chance of getting cure. The person is sure to die. So at this age, they should be aware and they should be protected from all these problems. Then it called for programs that aim towards encouraging delayed marriage and childbearing, education of adolescents about the risk of unprotected sex, making contraceptive services accessible to and affordable, providing food supplements, nutritional services, strengthening legal measures to prevent child marriage, and so on. So the government took so many steps in order to protect the adolescents people from sicknesses, from early child marriage, from early bearing child, and also making giving them and delayed marriage and childbearing. So they should get married late and should have children when they are matured enough, when they have job, and so on. And also giving them education about risk of unprotected sex. So having sex without any protection with their husband also, that is risky for their life. They can have sicknesses, they can get dangerous sicknesses, and so on. Then making contraceptive services accessible to affordable. So in order to get protection during their sex, the government provided contraceptives in order to protect them from their sicknesses, and so on. Then providing food supplements to supply food for the family, especially to the mother and child. There is a lot of programs started by the government, mother and child care. So especially after giving birth to the children, mother needs a lot of nutritious food. So government was supplying. Otherwise, the mother also will be unhealthy. The child also will be unhealthy. Then strengthening legal measures to prevent child marriage. Government also took legal remedies. The government passed the law in the parliament that anybody getting married, any girl getting married below 18 years of age and boy below 21 years of age, they can be punished. That will be considered as child marriage and they can be punished. So government took that initiative in order to prevent them to get married very early, and instead give them time to study, to get job, and to become mature physically, mentally, so that they can begin a family, look after the family nicely, and so on. Then people are the nation's most valuable resource, and a well-educated, healthy population provides potential power. So we say people are the most valuable resource. All the other resources become useful only if people are good. If people have no knowledge, if people have no health, then all the other resources become a waste. Nobody knows how to use those resources. Nobody has got the health to work, and so on. So people are healthy means our nation also will be healthy, and we will be able to have a lot of potential power. We'll be able to think a lot of things, we'll be plan a lot of things, work a lot of things, and so on. So that is the essential things that we need to do in our life. We need to have proper education, proper good health, and we should have that vision and willingness to work for the country and look after our own families well. So we come to the end of this lesson, and let's just go through the exercises given below. First one, choose the right answer. So migrations change the number, distribution, and composition of a population in migrations change the number, distribution, and composition of a population in, what is the answer? Both the area of departure and arrival. Number C is the answer. Then a large proportion of children in a population is a result of, which is answer? Answer number 1, high birth rates. Then number 3, the magnitude population growth refers to, number B, the number of persons added each year. Then number 4, according to the census 2001, a literate person is one who, which is answer? Number C, is 7 years old and can read and write and any language with understanding. Then the other answers I will send you in the WhatsApp group. You will be able to write down, copy down, and afterwards take a photo and send it to me. Take clear photo. Okay, some of you are sending and I am not able to read, so send a very clear photo. Then also lot of glossary, vocabularies are given there. Lot of words are there. You try to read and try to find out the meanings, and that will be very helpful for you to understand this lesson properly. Like adolescence, alluvial plain, base population, biome, birth rate, climate, depression, death rate. So a lot of words are there. Read nicely and understand nicely. Okay, so we come to the end of this geography syllabus. I hope you all have listened nicely, learned nicely, and understood nicely. And if you have any doubt, you can ask me anytime. Okay, I'll be happy to help you. I'll be happy to explain to you. Okay, so thank you for being with me for all these